This is a 355 I built years ago. It was a Vortec head experiment. See how big a cam I can get to work with these fucking Vortec heads. It's more or less basic bottom end 350 flat tops. It was 10 1/4 to 1 compression with a 39 thick head gasket, but those got swapped out with a 26 thick, so it should be in the 10 1/2, 10 6 to 1 range. These are 97 Vortec heads, and hear a lot of people talking about them and shit. And if you're building something mild with a mild cam, you're not shooting for the fucking moon. They're an excellent pair of heads. But to make them work with the big cam, big roller and shit, when I first put this engine together, I used a Lanati Voodoo flat tappet hydraulic. It was like 525, 546 lift. But it ended up getting swapped out with a 565, 580 lift. Howard's hydraulic roller retrofit. And to make that work in these fucking heads, one thing, got 100 long Faria stainless valves, 5000 series. I had the heads cut for 202 160 valves, a 5-angle valve job done on them. It cut for 7/16 screw-in studs and guide plates. I had some big ass K-motion springs in there at first, and then I ended up swapping out some, I think, Pack 1218 beehives. But I had all the valve guides replaced with bronze valve guides that were PC seals, so I didn't have that shit to worry about. The valve guides were cut completely out. When I first built it, I had a big single plane intake on it. It's a 750 double pumper. But I had it in a Blazer for a while, and then I put it in a C10 shop truck that I was wanting to pull a trailer with. I put it in there with the 4-speed, and decided to put a dual plane intake on it. This is a Mercruiser dual plane intake. Looks a lot like a Performer RPM, but the quality on it's way fucking better. The water passages are all brass. It's a marine application intake, a Vortec bolt pattern. It's got just a heavy duty GM single roller chain in it, like you find in their heavy duty shit. 7-quart pan, milling oil pump. But there's a lot of fucking hassle to the money I got in these heads. They're pocket ported to the bottom of the bowls. short turn radius has been worked on, and the big valves and shit. And they got about 12 thousandths taken off the decks. They're about 62 cc chambers. But all the money spent on these fucking things, which I've had these Vortec heads for, 15, 18 years, and they've been in the machine shop 3 or 4 times getting more upgrades and shit. But the money spent on these Vortec heads to make them worth the shit, I probably could have bought 2 pair of aftermarket aluminum heads, or at least 1 good pair, for the same money. And at the end of the fucking day, you spend all this money, you still got a pair of Vortec heads. So you can't go hog wild on porting and shit. But there are improvements you can make to make them do a little better. Putting that dual plane intake on there definitely helped with the bottom end torque. But ended up that truck's evolving into something else, and it ain't gonna be pulling too many more trailers, so I put another engine in it that's slightly rowdier with a lot more head flow. But my advice for people, if you want to spend a shitload of money on these Vortec heads, more power to you. But there are a lot better options out there for less money. So take it for what it's worth. This little engine did run damn good. It's got a 247, 253 at 50, 108 lobe separation, 565, 580 lift cam in it. So I've had this son of a bitch turning 7,000 RPM probably 10,000 times. The block is just an old 1979 350 out of a truck with 97 Vortec heads. But I'm gonna use it in something else. It's still a good unit. But Vortex heads. They good if you building some mild shit, but it's gonna get expensive if you want to turn up the wick. So there you go.